ain't trying to sway you cause I ain't got all the answers. I'm just trying to convey to you, I'll be taking some chances. If my shit don't pertain to you, you can check out your man shit. You ain't teach us a damn thing, you ain't give us the game. We was giving you signals, but you ain't give us a link.
Hi, welcome to another episode of I Don't Have the Answers, but let's talk about it anyway. I'm your host, Tim, the Answer Man Ford. Thank you very much for joining me. So this week, we're going to talk about advice. Advice that we give to friends and family members that are going through a breakup. And I want to do a whole episode to tell you what you should and should not say to a loved one or a friend that's going through a breakup. I'm sure that we've all been there. We've all had these terrible experiences where our relationships came to an end. Some are planned. Some you know are coming. Others you don't. There's all kinds of circumstances. And no matter what, friends come out of the woodwork to give you advice. Family members want to throw in their 2 cents. Is it good? Not always. Should you follow it? Not always. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the worst things to say and some of the best things to say. But before we do, I want to tell you why I chose this topic this week. Just the other day, I was talking to my son, texting with him, and found out that he was going through a breakup. And immediately, the first impulse I had was emotional, and I was like, in my heart, I was like, she's not worth him, she's terrible, and I was immediately blaming her. Thankfully, I did not say those things out loud, because they are the worst things to do. They are on my worst list. So I wanted to offer a couple of suggestions about the advice that we give to each other when they're going through a breakup. So I went through a bunch of different websites, and I also went through my history. And those that know me know that it's a checkered, to say the least. But I put together a list of the top 6 worst and top 6 best things to say to a friend or a loved one when they're going through this. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one and why I think that they are either bad or good. So we're going to start with the worst. And this, if you take nothing else from this episode, please don't say these things when somebody's going through a breakup. Regardless of the circumstances, just don't. First one is, you need to get under someone to get over someone. And it alludes to the fact that you should find a physical relationship to satisfy your needs to get over someone. Not a good idea. Just sets them up for another emotional roller coaster. Or how about just forget about them? Don't think about them. How is that even possible? Especially if it's a long-term relationship that comes to an end after years, decades even. Someone that has been a part of their life for so long, it's not one of those things they can flip a switch and turn it off. No. Burying that feeling, burying that relationship, and hiding it is the worst thing they can do because it'll come back to bite them in the butt later. Don't ever say it. How about, you just need to find a friend with benefits and move on? Really? Refer to the first one. It's not the best thing. That is still a relationship. It's a type of relationship. It's not a very productive one. And in my personal opinion, the bit of advice that I got a long time ago, some of the best relationships in the world start off as being friends first. You don't immediately jump to the physical. How about this one? There are plenty of fish in the sea. Yeah. Good advice to give someone who's a fisherman who just lost a big catch. Not someone who just broke up with someone. There's always a chance to find another. Again, why are we telling them that it's a chance to find another? We don't need them to jump back into a new relationship until they have fully healed from the ones they just ended. And we don't know if that is the true ending of the relationship. Not our best advice. And this one is the worst thing to ever say to someone at the end of a relationship. I never liked them anyway. There's a couple of reasons why you don't want to say this. Number one, if they're like me, then they're going to come back with, why didn't you tell me this months ago, years ago, if you didn't like them? Why have you been lying all this time? Or two, just my luck, I would say that, and 3 days later they patch things up and they're back together again, and now all of a sudden you have to pretend like you didn't say that. That's not going to happen. So don't say it. Just don't. Some of the best ones that I can recommend, it takes time. It's true. It's a fact. It's a statement. It's nothing has been editorialized. It's true. It does take time. You don't know how long or short. You're not trying to say it's going to be something they can get over quickly. It's just an accurate statement of fact. The next one, very good one. Think rationally. Might be kind of hard to do while you're in the midst of a breakup, still an emotional moment, but think rationally is a good idea. If you can get someone to make decisions based on rationale instead of emotions, maybe they won't be the one standing at the top of a bridge getting ready to jump off because of a relationship that they had for 3 weeks is just ended. No, that's not experience talking. I'm just trying to draw up a pretty picture. This next one is good. Take care of yourself first. Many of my friends over the years have exhibited a special certain something that when they go through a breakup, they neglect themselves, they stop eating, or stop eating correctly, and they start drinking, or they start doing other things bad to themselves. They forget about all of the good things that they used to do to keep themselves in balance, and they start new bad habits. So that is definitely on my top 10 list of things that you should say. This is a very important one in this day and age where everything's written and recorded. Think twice before saying or writing something that you'll regret later. Very, very, very important. Don't go off half-cocked and write some terrible monologue and post it on Facebook or Twitter or anything else, trashing them about how things happened. Don't ever recommend that they do that. So always tell them to think twice. 3 times, 4 times if necessary. Another good bit of advice. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You don't need to do that. So yes, encourage your friends and family that when they're going through a breakup to be kind to themselves, to think about what they're doing, and not to place all the blame on them, because a relationship is a 2-person, or depending on the kind of relationship, 3 or 4 person. But anyway, it's a 2-person arrangement. There's blame to be placed on both sides, so no need to beat yourself up. Be kind. And this is some of the best advice. This last one is some of the best advice you can give to someone. You are allowed to be sad. I'm going to say it again. You are allowed to be sad. You want to encourage people and let them know that they are allowed to be sad. They do not have to have that stiff upper lip. They don't have to be strong. They can be sad. They can allow emotion to enter into it. This is a serious thing. It's going to affect multiple parts of their life. Pointing back to the way that we're all joined together in social media, it's not going to be something that can easily go away. I had a friend of mine who was recently reminded about this when memories keep popping up on Facebook of the times that he had before with his former partner. So it's kind of hard to forget them. So you're allowed to be sad. It is important. Don't ever tell someone, all right, come on, cheer up. You can do it. No. the emotions that they are having are important. There's a bunch of steps about getting over depression, those are important. So this episode is not just about advice to give to the person going through it. I want to give them, the people that are accepting and receiving advice, some advice about accepting advice. I'm kind of confused, didn't I just said that? But anyway, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you all kinds of things. This part is important. Take what resonates with you and act on it. Everything else, discard. What that means is, if someone is giving you advice and you listen to it, sincerely take it in, and if it means something, if you feel something about that advice, great, act on it. If you hear something said to you and it doesn't resonate with you on a deeper level, if it's not something that's just hollow, discard it. You don't need that kind of advice. If it doesn't mean something to you, you don't have to act on it. Next, just because you look up to the person giving the advice doesn't mean that you have to take their advice as gospel. They might have different reasons for giving you that advice. They may have never been in the same situation that you're in. So just because a parent or a best friend or a member of the clergy gives you advice, and just because you look up to them, doesn't mean that that advice is right for you. Think about it. Pray on it. Dwell on it a little bit. If it doesn't, refer back to the first thing I said. If it doesn't resonate, discard it. And then this next one is very important. You're going to get advice if you happen to be a sociable individual. You're going to get advice from all kinds of different directions. And if you have strange friends like mine, you're going to get weird advice from all different kinds of directions. So you need to set boundaries. When it starts coming in and becoming overwhelming, you need to be able to stand up, get up on that chair and say, "Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. I don't want any more." Or something to that effect. You can't be expected to take the advice that everybody gives, because we're all different. We're all unique little snowflakes. Yeah, that sounded funny to me too. We're all different and we experience things differently. Some advice is going to be perfect for you, some is not. Some's going to hit you on an emotional level and you're going to be like, wow, that was deep. I should think about that. Others are going to be like, what the hell were they thinking when they said that? I've gotten a lot of both. But of course, as we all know, I could be wrong. I don't have all the answers. Thank you very much for joining me this week, and I hope you have a great weekend.
The boy is off Broadway.